I don't know why that it's such a difficult thing to do in the modern age and why teachers feel the need to inject these conversations into classrooms without parents knowing. I think a great way to mitigate this problem as a whole is to engage in curriculum transparency, where at the beginning of every year, when you send your child to school, you get a little book that says, here's what we're teaching. Here are the resources your kid is going to look at. You can look at these resources yourself. If you have a problem with any of the resources we are going to give your child, notify us. And it's a very simple issue to just put the power back in the hands of parents where it should have been from the beginning. And it feels weird to meet such resistance on allowing parents to be able to make that choice for their kids, not necessarily resistance from you, but from left-leaning people at large.
What's going on, everyone? Starts beginning here today. We're reacting to a video from Amala, I believe her name is, from Unapologetic. Is going to be talking about the so-called Don't Say Gay bill. This is the Parental Rights and Education bill. I don't like saying don't say gay, but it seems like these people are able to craft a narrative around this bill that everyone understands it when I say don't say gay. But if I say the Parental Rights and Education bill, people are looking at me like, what are you talking about? But hey, I digress. Let's get into the video.
Hello. So this kind of goes back to the first question, but I'm kind of confused and like would be interested in your answer about what the difference is between conservatism and like the current Republican Party. Because like something that really drives me away from the Republican Party is a lot of like blatant lies and bigotry that I hear coming out of that, and kind of the
See, my main issue when people say when they, I guess, call you names is, do they have any proof of that? Most of the time they don't. Like, give me an example of what you think is right-wing bigotry. And then they'll tell me, and I'm like, well, that's just an observation. They probably differ with it, but that doesn't make it bigoted, right? Bigoted means hatred, right? Or did I get that wrong? Right? That's how I understand bigotry. So what are they doing that's enforcing bigotry? They saying that, oh, a man is a man and a woman is a woman and a man can't be a woman. Is that, and you call that bigotry? Is that bigotry? No, that's not bigotry. He's not saying any hate. He's just saying, hey, I make an observation and I say this cannot be that. A therefore cannot be B. So B is therefore not A. Like, it's an argument. So have an argument, but it doesn't mean the person hates someone. And this is all this narrative control BS that I find that the left spends so much of their time doing. They like to craft narratives, not arguments. That's how I feel. That's how I think. You can come at me in the comment section. I don't really give it now. But I digress. Let's get into it.
lack of calling that out from other people as well. So I guess, and like listening to what you're talking about today, it seems like you're very focused on the facts, and that's something that's driving a lot of what you're like thinking and saying, but that doesn't seem to really be coming from the Republican Party. So
Okay.
I'm confused on how you're.
I'm curious. I would like. Can I get examples of what you mean when you say like they're focused on bigotry or like saying certain things?
So like blatant lies, I guess, would kind of be with the election and like election deniers, and then kind of the lack of people who are calling that out. So I guess, I mean, a good example would be, I mean, you were talking about, you know, following the facts and the science with regards to like transgender youth. So I'm just kind of confused on how then you're saying we should follow the facts with respects to that, but then all the kind of Republicans who are ignoring that. And then I guess with the bigotry would be in regards to like the Don't Say Gay law in Florida, and then the lack of like Republicans who are then calling that out.
Yeah. So I'll touch on the.
What? I'm a Floridian parent, okay? And I am in agreement with the Parental Rights and Education bill. Actually, majority of Floridians, where the law was passed in Florida, agree with the Parental Rights and Education bill, because we believe any sexualization of any kind, this is a general term, sexualization can happen with straight, homo, it don't matter. We don't want any sexual content in front of our kids between those age groups that are listed out in that bill. Because you want us to allow that to happen, you call it a bigotry. This is dumb. That's dumb. That's a dumb argument, right? It's just, and this is what I'm talking about. A lot of things the left advocate for is just pushing their beliefs on other people. And this is why I like to call the left these control freaks. You want to sit here and say, "Oh, you should allow your 2-year-old son to sit there and learn about sex from someone that's not their parent." Because I don't know your motives. I don't know why you're teaching the kid, and then I don't understand your motives for teaching my kid this stuff. And because I don't understand, I say, hey, you're not allowed to do it. And then behind my back, you're still trying to facilitate these conversations with my children. That don't sound.
Nope.
That ain't gonna happen. No parent's gonna let you do that. If a parent tell you, hey, I don't want this with my kid, majority of parents in said state said they don't agree with people doing this to their kids, then the politician of that state pass a law to reinforce that boundary, because it seems like people perpetrating these things are not respecting the boundaries laid out by these parent groups.
It doesn't make sense.
But they're bigoted for that. That is ridiculous, bro.
Don't say gay thing first, then we'll get to the election thing, then we'll get to the Republican thing. The don't say gay bill, I think, is falsely labeled the don't say gay bill. I've actually gone to the page, read the bill itself. It's actually called the Parental Rights and Education Bill. And if you go through and read the bill itself, a lot of people engaged in all this fanfare and getting angry about a label, which is 3 words that they heard, rather than going and actually reading the bill. And the bill itself talks about just staying away from sexual education that has to do with other sexualities, has to do with gender theory. A lot of people got mad at the bill saying that he was trying to erase African-American history. But if you go in and read it, there's actually a full paragraph where he says the school must dedicate time to talking about African-American history, including slavery and Jim Crow and all these different things written directly in it. There's nothing in the bill that explicitly says you should not say the word gay or encourages teachers to not talk about the fact that you can have a family that has 2 dads or 2 moms.
And this is how the left kind of outs themselves, because they are bigoted in my view. They were projecting here, because you pass a law, you don't specify, you don't use the letter gay not one time in your bill. You just say, hey, I don't want sexuality taught in my classroom, period. They come and said, oh, this is against gay people, this is against trans people. How? We're not specifying that. Why you think is that's the case? You thinking this is how you get homosexuality across? I thought you were born homosexual. I thought no one can condition you to be homosexual. So why you're mad that we don't want to teach any sexuality in the classroom? Right? That it doesn't make sense. Like there needs to be some consistency here. If you come out and say, hey, this bill is hurting these small minority groups, and I'm looking at you, I'm like, it applies in general. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be anything. Oh, we're a minority group. We need special attention on us. That's what it comes across. And the fact that you have no avenue to advocate for these special minority groups in these specific settings, you want to get mad. And then you want to be mad when conservatives say, hey, okay, groomer. Bruh. Like, come on. Because they're saying you're trying to condition our kids to this lifestyle. We don't want our kids to be conditioned by this lifestyle. Hey, done. It should be okay. I understand you don't feel comfortable with us teaching your kids this stuff. And then it should have been a wrap from there. But mainstream media,
how dare you,
will go and try to chastise people. And then you saw what happened. Ron DeSantis won by 20 points. So obviously Florida had no problem with the bill. That's your L. How you run in California is how you run in California, but don't try to bring California politics into Florida. And that's the argument I'm trying to make. But I digress. Let's get back into it.
So I think that was a lot of just media propaganda. And
Florida's controversial Don't Say Gay law takes effect today. Don't say gay bill.
The don't say gay. Don't say gay.
The Don't Say Gay bill.
Don't say gay law.
Don't say gay bill. Don't say gay bill. Don't say gay bill.
And switching things around that got people angry.
Okay, are you going to...
Hating the imagination of a bill, right? Then it validates my worldview about the Democrats, the lefties in general. You craft an imagination. Oh, this is what it is. This is right-wing bigotry. And then when you get called out, okay, provide proof for your assumptions, for your imaginations. You don't have any. But you expect me to keep trusting you. All right. Yeah, okay.
Let's switch topics. Could I follow on that?
You can respond, yeah.
Okay, so then my question, I guess, following up on that, would you be against then like a kindergartner being like read a story that has like 2 dads or 2 moms?
I mean, that doesn't necessarily make me upset. I wouldn't go running to the school board about it. I would question the need for having any sort of conversation.
In public school, this should not be going on in public school, because public school for minority kids, for kids in general, they give the worst educational outcomes for children compared to charter school, private schools, even homeschooling. Right. And a lot of teachers have a lot of reasons for that. Oh, it's because we have a larger class size, but then that don't explain why private school do better than them. Then they say, oh, it's because private school kids tend to come from more affluent parents. So they have better quality education. They're highly more motivated than people that just send their kids to public schools. They all these factors, all these reasons why it is what it is. All I'm saying is you're in a school that's, we're falling behind compared to the rest of the world, right? Education wise. And you want to spend time teaching kids about two dads, two moms. When that's what I'm saying. School needs to be neutral. Leave that stuff to the parents. Teaching stuff about life, leave that to the parents. But it seems like, and I always tell you this, the government don't trust people by themselves. The government don't trust you to make decisions in the best interest of your kid and actually the best interest of your community, right? Who's out here teaching kids not to like gay people? Nobody, for the most part. And for you to make a claim, you better have proof to back it up. I ain't gonna sit here and just believe you. Oh, people won't teach kids how to be tolerant. No, that's not your job. I think this is a part of teachers not knowing their boundaries and government not knowing their boundaries either. But I digress. Let's get back into the video
that talks about relationships in school. But if you're just showing a picture book and it has two dads in it, okay, whatever. I'm not upset about it. I think what specifically conservative parents are really upset about is things much more nefarious than showing two dads in a book. I mean, talking about homoeroticism and pornography and different ways to engage in sexual acts, gender confusion. That's what's really brought parents to the forefront of this discussion. It's not something as simple and as harmless as showing two dads in a book.
Okay, but do you understand that that is in Florida? That is what's not allowed to happen though?
No, I don't understand that. That's
teachers
in the bill.
And notice how he doesn't talk or say, yeah, I agree, that over sexualization of stuff that shouldn't be allowed in the classroom. But there's no nuance to this thing. He's it's almost like he just didn't hear anything she said and just want to focus on something he wanted to respond to, right? Oh yeah, but you understand that can't be taught in the bill now, right? They can't be taught in Florida now, right? Why are you so concerned about what's going on in Florida, bro? I don't understand. And this is what I'm saying. Florida don't care if California locks down and do what it does. No, Florida don't care. But for some strange reason, it seems California care a lot what Florida does. Is this concept of, oh, you have to live like me or else? This is kind of the framing or the kind of imagery I get from these left-wing people or people who just tend to be more sympathetic to this stuff. I'm like, hey, you're pushing a culture on a group of people that don't want this culture in their state. So why you're right and they're wrong? You can't give me proof. You can't say anything. There's their kid. If they're uncomfortable with you teaching a certain thing to their kid, you have no right to that kid. Unless you're willing to fight that parent for that kid, and you're going to lose that battle. But I digress. Let's get back into it.
Well, it wasn't written in the bill, but that's why I'm saying that I feel like bills like those are being targeted towards gay people and lesbians. Well,
I would argue that the bills also say that you should not show children heterosexual acts. So it's not targeting of any kind to any sort of sexuality. I wouldn't want to send my kindergarten to school and have them talk about a man and a woman having sex. I think the bill explicitly lays out what conversations are appropriate for school and what conversations are not. And sexual conversations about sexuality, identification, are just not what we send children to school for.
Mm-hmm.
But would you be against them like a fifth grader just reading a book?
He keep pulling up these examples and it's starting to get me kind of annoyed. But my thing is, hey, if it's PG, if it's age appropriate, fine, leave it in the schools. But this stuff, genderqueer, there's a book called Genderqueer out there. Parents are mortified that this is accessible in public school libraries, bro. I'd seen something in New York that they spent they're funding $250,000 for transgender theory stuff in classrooms. That's a no-go. A lot of parents are not going to feel comfortable with you doing that. And that's just the case. You can keep trying to, it's fine, it's okay. But no, I just think boundaries have been lost now. And I think we need to go back to strict boundaries. Hey, teachers, you're in charge of this. Parents, you're in charge of this. Instead of letting the government be like, okay, we're going to teach our kids to be tolerant. It's because it's almost this perception that teachers and the government take this perception that parents are lazy. They won't teach their kids anything. And we're supposed to teach them everything. And that's where I don't agree. I don't agree at all. Right. And this is why I think the education system is broken. They need to They need to get back to where they were supposed to do best, teaching like reading, writing, arithmetic. That's it. That's all you're supposed to be teaching. But things in the realm of ideology or how to do things or whatever, no, don't teach my kid nothing. I'll teach my kid that. And this is why highly motivated parents want to remove their kids out of public school. Kids are naturally tolerant. Kids don't care about races, the race of their kid, their friend, or nothing. They get taught these things in school. When they separate people, oh, he's white, he's black, he has more of an advantage from you, even though they come from the same neighborhood. He has an advantage over you. You have a disadvantage based on your skin color. You teach these kids these things to these kids. But if you leave kids to their own devices, you don't teach them any ideology. They group up together. Oh, you're my friend. They judge each other by their actions. Oh, he's a mean kid. But then you come in, oh, you're ostracizing my kid because he's black. And that's the problem I have with all this stuff. And it seems like they're doing the same playbook. But I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Where there's a relationship between like a man and a man or a woman and a woman, where like their sexuality is discussed.
I mean, not necessarily, but I don't know why that book has to be given to that child from the school. I think there are very few things that a school should be taking care of, and that is math, reading, writing, science, and maybe some home economics. But as far as engaging in conversations about any sort of relationship or sexuality, it feels wholly unnecessary to me. And I don't know where the school train ran away from us that they now feel that they are the arbiters of teaching children anything that has to do with relationships. I think those are conversations for mom and dad, or mom and mom.
I agree. That's it for the video. I only went halfway through. If you want to watch the rest, the link is in the description below. Let me know your thoughts about this whole like debate between Amala and this leftist student. And all in all, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.